They chase after what slips away. They thirst for what departs. And they worship one who does not need them. This is the hidden law of power. Detachment. At the moment you need something, you pass on a weapon that can hurt you. Despair is easily readable, easily manipulated, easily destroyed. But the detached are ghosts in the system. Unpredictable, inaccessible, unstoppable. You see, true strength lies not in dominance, but in indifference. It is the ability to leave when others ask you to stay. Detachment is not emotional death. This is emotional mastery. It is the discipline to remain calm while others burn with the desire for attention. When you stop chasing, people start chasing you. When you stop reacting, the game changes in your favor. Тот, кто не нуждается ни в чем, становится тем, кто контролирует все. Если вы хотите владеть ситуацией, усмирите свои желания. Если хотите уважения, убейте стремление к одобрению. Помните, отстраненность — это не холодность. Это самообладание, отточенное до состояния оружия. Thus, you become unattainable. I am calmness in chaos. Let the world know you have entered the game. First, the power of absence. Strength lies not only in what you show the world, but also in what you choose to withhold. Absence, if understood, is not escape. It is strategy. It is the discipline of stepping away from noise, removing your energy from places that no longer deserve it. In a culture dependent on constant attention, silence becomes the highest form of control. It tells the world that you do not depend on anyone's recognition to affirm your worth. When you disappear for the right reasons, you do not lose influence, but multiply it. Absence sharpens perception. It creates a contrast to your presence. When you are always connected, people stop feeling your impact. But when you withdraw with a specific purpose, suddenly the atmosphere changes. People notice what they previously ignored: your consistency, your reliability, your quiet strength. You don't need to prove your worth. Your absence speaks for itself. A disciplined person understands this. They do not vanish out of pride or anger, but out of clarity. He retreats to observe, regain strength, and reconsider his direction. Every powerful mind understands the cycles of interaction and withdrawal. Nature itself teaches this. Tides recede before returning with greater force. Storms gather in the silence before they move. Your strength works the same way. Continuous presence drains the mystery and weakens the impulse. Strategic distance restores both aspects. The world interprets your pauses as confidence, for only a balanced person can withdraw without fear of being forgotten. Absence shows that you have a life based within, not scattered by the approval of others. When you retreat with intention, you create space for reflection. You hear your thoughts again, untainted by external noise. You remember what you stand for and what deserves your energy. Many get lost trying to be everywhere at once and please everyone. The Stoic knows better. He moves with precision, choosing where to invest his presence like a scarce resource. Because presence is not infinite, it is currency. What is rare becomes an object of respect. Absence is not silence caused by offense. It is silence born from balance. You do not withdraw to punish. You withdraw to preserve. You do not hide from the world. You refine yourself. And when you return, you will do so with clearer vision and deeper focus. The weak fear distance because they associate silence with rejection. The strong use distance as a forge. They know that absence strengthens essence. It separates the necessary from the distracting. To master absence is to understand the rhythm. When to speak, when to listen, when to appear, and when to disappear. Those who study this rhythm control the pace of their lives, becoming less reactive, less hurried, and less available to chaos. As your boundaries strengthen, your aura changes. People sense this before they understand. They feel that you are hard to displace, that your inner peace cannot be bought with attention. This quiet strength commands respect, not through intimidation, but through self-control. When you retreat, the world continues to move, but it moves differently around you. Those who respect your energy will rise to meet it. Those who depended on your constant presence will disappear. And it should be so. Absence clarifies. It filters the noise, amplifies the signal, and reminds you that true strength is internal. You do not chase significance. You build it from silence outward. Therefore, when it's time to step back, do so with intention. Do not announce. Do not explain. Just disappear into your discipline, into your focus. When you return, let your progress speak for you. This is the essence of refined strength, not loud actions but quiet transformations. Tell yourself, my silence restores my strength. Say this not as a phrase, but as a command. For he who understands the value of absence never fears being unnoticed. Second, the psychology of indifference. Indifference is not apathy. It is power. It is the ability to feel deeply, but not succumb to those feelings. The weak confuse indifference with emotional emptiness, but true indifference is the highest form of discipline. It means your emotions exist but are under your control. You acknowledge fear, anger, and desire, but do not let them take charge. You remain focused, stable, unyielding. This is the essence of cold strength. Calm under pressure, resilience in chaos, silence amid provocations. To understand indifference, one must first realize attachment. Every form of suffering begins with attachment to outcomes, opinions, comfort, approval. The stronger your attachment, the easier it is to control you. Indifference frees you from this chain. When you stop needing specific outcomes, you stop panicking over losses. You act strategically, not emotionally. You move from impulse to intention. It is not the coldness of stone. It is the control of fire, imprisoned in steel. A mind like Machiavelli's does not ignore emotions. It studies them. You must know your triggers, your weaknesses, your tendencies. A person who understands themselves cannot be manipulated, for there is nothing hidden within them. Indifference arises when self-awareness replaces emotional reaction. When you are able to observe your mind without judgment, you have already separated your power from your pain. And in that space between stimulus and reaction lives your power. Emotional control is not suppression. This is transformation. You redirect the same energy that others spend on reaction into focus and calm. Indifference allows you to act in reality as it is, not as you would like it to be. You stop fighting against circumstances and begin to harness them. You cease to take everything personally and start seeing patterns. Each attack becomes data. Each defeat is training. You no longer react to the world. You study it, and by studying, you master it. The Stoic does not rise to every challenge out of pride. He chooses his battles wisely. Indifference gives you that choice. It's not that nothing matters, but that not everything matters. Once you realize that most things do not deserve your energy, you begin to conserve it for what truly develops you. This is how legacies are formed, by not reacting to every distraction and directing your attention like a weapon. When you master indifference, people can no longer disturb your peace. You stop explaining yourself to those who do not understand you. You stop arguing with those who seek to drain you. You begin to move through life with quiet power. This calm energy disturbs those who live in chaos because it exposes their lack of control. But that is not your concern. You are not responsible for their instability. You are responsible for your own center. Indifference does not mean isolation. It means balance. You can still love, care, and connect, but you are no longer dependent. You give from strength, not need. You can stand beside someone without leaning on them. You can face uncertainty without asking for certainty. And this makes you rare, because most people act out of emotional hunger. You, on the contrary, act from inner abundance. Your peace is not borrowed, it is built. True strength does not shout. It does not chase. It does not need to be noticed. She simply exists quietly, confidently, serenely. Indifference turns noise into silence, and doubt into discipline. When you reach this state, you no longer react to provocations. You pause, breathe, decide. Every word, every movement, every step back becomes conscious. The world will call it coldness, but it is clarity. They will take your silence for arrogance, but it is harmony. You simply stopped investing in chaos. When you no longer need to win every argument, you start winning in life. When you stop craving recognition, you attract respect. Indifference is freedom disguised as calm. It does not arise from pretending to care less. It is born from the ability to discern what truly deserves your attention. The most dangerous person is not the one who shouts the loudest, but the one who remains unperturbed. Your emotions are not enemies. These are messengers. Listen to them, learn from them, but never let them control you. He who controls his emotions controls his fate. Indifference is not suppression. It is sovereignty. It is the ability to remain unshaken when the world around trembles. It is a quiet confidence that nothing external can take away what you have already mastered within yourself. So, when life tests you, when there is noise around, when people try to provoke a reaction, smile to yourself. You have already chosen peace. True strength lies not in resistance, but in restraint. Strength is not in dominance, but in discipline. A person who is indifferent to chaos is not soulless. They are free. My calmness is my crown. Let this phrase be your reminder, because by mastering indifference, you do not strive for balance. You become it. A strategic emotion. Strength lies in restraint. Emotions are not your weakness. Uncontrolled emotions are what distinguish a strong person from an unstable one. Strength lies not in the absence of feelings, but in the ability to control them. Every person experiences anger, desire, disappointment, fear. But a strong person feels all of this and chooses when and how to express it. They do not suppress emotions. They purify them. When emotion becomes a strategy, it becomes influence. Restraint is not suppression. It is mastery. He who can hold his reaction, who can pause when provoked, controls every situation he encounters. His calmness becomes unsettling. His restraint attracts attention while others waste their energy on meaningless reactions. He reserves his strength for decisive actions. This is the psychology of command. Not through control over others, but through complete control over oneself. In the world of power, emotional discipline is currency. He who can remain calm in chaos becomes the axis around which everything else revolves. People trust restraint because it is perceived as safety. When you are unshakable, others naturally gravitate towards your stability. They interpret your restraint as wisdom and silence as confidence. This is the paradox of power. By holding back, you project more strength. There will be moments that attempt to evoke emotions in you, moments meant to disrupt your rhythm, test your patience, and expose your impulses. These are not obstacles. They are invitations to rise above reaction. When your instinct says to speak, pause. When it says to fight, think. When he says to prove your worth, smile. A person who can slow down their reactions becomes dangerous, not because they hide emotions, but because they control time. And time in everything is power. Strategic emotion is the art of expression through precision. You choose your words like a surgeon chooses his instruments, never frivolously, always thoughtfully. When you speak, your voice must cut through the noise. When you act, it must be deliberate. Even kindness shown by a disciplined person carries weight. His compassion is not accidental, it is intentional. His patience is not passive, it is tactically calculated. Control over emotions becomes an art of influence. This discipline does not dull your humanity, but strengthens it. You do not turn off emotions, you teach them to serve your goals, not undermine them. Just as a warrior trains his instincts before battle, you train your emotions before conflict. Anger becomes focus, fear, awareness, pain, purpose. Everything you feel can be transformed into energy that works for you, not against you. Moderation gives a psychological advantage. The one who reacts first loses control. The one who remains balanced manages the situation. In negotiations, leadership, and relationships, emotional restraint makes people listen. They try to read you, but they can't. This uncertainty gives you weight, not because you play a game, but because you have learned the truth. Strength is not in loudness, but in silence. Mastery of restraint means that you no longer live in reaction to external forces. You are not dependent on how others treat you to define your mood. You do not allow small provocations to distract you from your path. You have become like deep water, calm on the surface, but powerful beneath. And when you finally decide to act, when you speak or set your boundaries, your words penetrate with the precision of a sharpened knife, tempered by silence. A resilient person does not suppress emotions to appear strong. They channel them to be effective, observing, and responding wisely without aggression. This is what true control looks like: measured, focused, quiet strength. Restraint demonstrates maturity to act, not react. It shows that you are guided by principles, not impulses. Those who can walk away from provocation without losing composure are not weak. He is immeasurably strong because nothing possesses him. Neither insult, loss, nor fleeting desire can disrupt his inner order. You do not need to prove strength to the world. You need to prove control to yourself. A person who can manage their inner state can handle any external storms. Every situation becomes an opportunity to practice self-control. Every conflict is a test of skill. When you feel emotions rising, do not resist them. Redirect them. Take this surge of energy and focus it on creation, strategy, and purpose. Thus, emotion becomes your ally, not your downfall. True strength is calm intention. It is the ability to stand tall when others tremble. It is a quiet confidence that no matter what happens, you remain the master of your reaction. This is the strength of restraint. It does not suppress emotions, it elevates them to their highest form, wisdom. Once you learn restraint, emotions no longer control you. You control them. The fourth is the discipline of distance. Distance does not mean detachment from life. It is harmony with truth. The world teaches you to be everywhere, with everyone, and for everything. It praises accessibility, calling it kindness and connection. But when you give yourself to everything, you blur yourself. A person with depth understands that distance is not avoidance, but precision. It is the ability to decide where your presence is appropriate and where it is not. Every great mind in history mastered the art of distance not because they despised people, but because they valued clarity. Distance gives you perspective. She pulls you away from the noise and restores order. You begin to see motives more clearly, your own and others. You start to understand what is truly important and what is merely a distraction masquerading as significance. When you create space, truth is given room to breathe. Discipline of distance begins within. It's not about cutting people off, but about getting rid of inner noise, the endless need to react, to prove, to explain. The pressure to always be visible, always be connected. This constant exposure destroys your sharpness. When you learn to retreat mentally, emotionally, socially, you regain it. The less you react to the world, the more the world opens up to you. Distance teaches you to see not just moments, but patterns. When you are too close to something, emotions distort your judgment, but from a distance, you can assess the situation clearly. You begin to notice cycles. What drains you, what fills you, what repeats in your life because you've tolerated it for too long. From this higher vantage point, your decisions become clearer. You stop acting on impulse and begin to act from vision. In absence, there is quiet strength, not from arrogance, but from awareness. Your time, energy, and attention are sacred currencies. To spend them frivolously is to bankrupt your purpose. A disciplined person understands that every yes is an exchange. Every agreement is an exchange of energy, so he chooses with precision. He knows that every moment spent on what doesn't matter takes time away from what truly is important. That is why his distance causes concern among people. It exposes how little discipline they have themselves. Distance is a power disguised as silence. It is a calm refusal to engage in every argument, every distraction, every invitation to chaos. It is the ability to stay grounded when others lose themselves. You don't need to declare your boundaries. You simply live by them. Your energy speaks before you do. People feel the weight of your presence, and when it disappears, they sense emptiness. This is the subtle power of distance. She doesn't need to shout to be felt. But here is the truth that many do not understand. Distance is not coldness. It is care redirected inward. When you step back, you do not leave others. You return to yourself. You give your mind time to reboot emotions and your soul space to calm down. The goal gets the chance to take its place. In our world, silence is perceived as indifference, but in reality, it is in silence that reflection turns into wisdom. You cannot see your reflection when the water is turbulent. A disciplined person uses solitude as a forge. He retreats into silence to hear what others ignore, a quiet voice that speaks only in tranquility. He learns to find comfort in his own company, peace in his own thoughts, and direction in his own silence. In this state, he does not seek approval. He radiates confidence. People feel the difference. You don't need to prove that you've changed. Your energy speaks for you. Detachment also teaches humility. When you step back, you realize how insignificant your ego's demands truly are. You stop chasing reactions, no longer needing constant validation. The world no longer dictates your worth. You do, and it is here that true strength begins. Because a person who no longer seeks to be understood becomes unshakable. Their self-esteem comes from within. Their worth no longer wavers, depending on public opinion. They do not succumb to trends, moods, or pressure. His distance becomes his armor. From afar, you discover something else: selectivity. You start to value quality more than quantity in everything. In relationships, goals, conversations, even in thoughts. You stop filling your time with people who drain your energy. You stop tolerating the oppressive environment. You stop indulging emotions that lead you astray. Every decision reflects high discipline. This is the true meaning of distance. Not separation from the world, but its improvement. You begin to live with a sense of precision. Every movement, every word, every connection now serves a purpose. True discipline lies not in doing more, but in doing less, but with intention. The modern world praises activity, but activity without purpose is just movement without meaning. Distance allows you to see where your energy leaks, helping to close the gaps where distractions live. When you learn to retreat, you begin to direct your attention like a laser, rather than like a wide-format light. You stop scattering your potential on hundreds of trifles and begin to direct it towards a few key things. This is how legacies are built. To practice distance, you need to embrace temporary solitude. Not isolation caused by pain, but solitude based on strength. Spend time alone not to